Yo, what's up, legends? Welcome back to another video on the channel. As you can tell by the title of the video, this is the Flatline walkthrough. If you don't know, me and Hardwell released an EP called the Seduction EP. 2 songs on there, 2 absolute weapons in both our sets still. These tracks are crazy, really high energy, like main stage techno vibe, ravey vibe. You've already seen the Seduction walkthrough. If you're a patron, you can download the Seduction sample pack right now. Believe me when I say this pack will not be available in 13 days time. Seduction pack will be gone forever, so make sure you join up now, download it. And also next month we will have the Flatline sample pack as well. Yeah, Patreon wise, you guys are still going crazy over there. It's mad that it's been almost 6 years of Patreon now, and some of you guys have been there since the start. I love you all so much. Also, with regards to Rave Ready samples, I'm going to drop some new templates on there. So if you have any suggestions for what kind of templates you want, or sample packs or whatever, please let me know. We're going to jump straight into Flatline. I'm so busy right now. Trying to load up music for the rest of the year. Trying to kind of coordinate the label. Raven Recordings just launched with Revealed. So I'm a busy boy right now. So hopefully we're going to do a speed run through Flatline. If you don't know what Flatline sounds like, it sounds a bit like this. So we're going to go through this project. It's not the most crazy. It looks kind of messy, but as you can see, I mean, I'm not using as many tracks as I usually would. Drop 1 is the one that you only hear in the extended version, so if you're a DJ, you've probably got this already. If you listen on Spotify, you won't have heard this yet. I think this drop's pretty cool. A lot of people like this the most, but it's a stripped back, basically techie drop. So this drop is all about heavy kick, heavy bass, and the rest of the stuff is just like ear candy, like sprinkled on top. Just the nice stuff. The main punch kick, standard, really not crazy. The top kick does a lot though here. It's just that clean little extra click with Robert's master. He really took this kick to the next level. Like, this will sound a little bit different to the version that's on Spotify. His master was next level. Obviously, I'm not quite there yet. But this master was good enough to play. I played this been playing this for like almost a year, so yeah, it does the job. We have a top kick and the main kick there. The sub bass from my track with Reslow, Meant to Be. What I've done here is added a Puig tech, just boosting the sub frequencies. I add this to all my sub basses now. The difference is crazy. Like, the sub bass just gets elevated. You can really hear it if you concentrate. But kick and bass is perfect here. This already provided us with a vibe. In addition to this, we've got some big Brahms, I think that's how you call it, like a bass swell, which is Nexus preset, actually. Don't look. This is, yeah, boosted the gain there a little bit. In terms of the EQ, this is a hard one. It's got a lot of sub frequencies. I don't want that, but if I remove all the sub frequencies, I'm going to lose the essence, like the feel of that bass shot, basically. So I just had to really by ear work out how much low end I could get away with keeping. See, that's a bit muddy there. But as you can hear, with that amount reduced, it fits within the mix. So that's kind of it for the first part of the drop. We go into the second part with all the extra ear candy stuff. For example, we have this long kind of drone noise, which I've used a lot. This kind of adds to the techno feel. So as you can hear the kick and bass, it doesn't sound super techno. It's almost like Melbourne bounce, right? But when you add this on top, it gives that dark feeling, and it kind of becomes more of a techno song, which is great because that's what's in right now. So we've got that in there. We also have this acid shot, Pretty nice, pretty edgy. In addition to that, we have random ass percussion. I like to get creative with my percussion. And of course we have hi-hats as well, just to drive the rhythm. These layers as well. I love that, especially the sound in between the pluck sounds. It's such a good texture on it. Now this loop, I believe, a sidechain because I didn't want the clap. In techno, you don't use a clap as often as you would in tech house. So I wanted to kind of get rid of the clap there. This has a great like grainy sound to it. And altogether the drums, this is the key here, layering, right? Kind of sounds like one top loop, right? That's because I've took lots of layers and kind of created my own top loop, and everything is mixed to the right levels so that it sounds like one top loop. If it sounds like some things are sticking out, if your drums don't sound like it could be a loop from Splice, arrangement wise, then you know, mixing wise you've gone a little wrong. So make sure things aren't standing out too much, and always mix it to your kick. So that's basically the ear candy stuff there. We have a little fill, which is super recognizable in the song. And then we have this synth kind of playing that you don't hear again in the track. So it's actually a resound, but it sounds a bit like a future rave lead. Basically this melody, it's not a random melody, but this is the melody from the breakdown. So I kind of tease it already. I think it's filtered as well. Yeah. Got some white noise, some clap effects. I love using these clap effects. Basically clap with a really clean reverb on it. And that is pretty much it for the intro drop. Mix down on this is one of the ones I'm like the most proud of. It sounds so clean and so tight, just how we like it. In the breakdown, the theme for this was literally what it says on the tin, Flatline. I was thinking of a cool way to have like a theme in here, but without it sounding too gimmicky, because it's quite a serious, like heavy drop. And I thought like Flatline, because the lead kind of sounds a bit like the heartbeat monitor, just on steroids. So that's where I basically started with it. And I think actually the impact in this, the impact was the thing that gave me the theme. I think I saw this and thought, oh, lead, that sounds a bit like the heartbeat monitor. Let's get some heartbeat monitors and stuff. So that's kind of where the theme came from. The heartbeat itself comes from this. Basically all I had to do was kind of pitch it to the right tone. So already we're setting the theme. You're listening to this and thinking, oh, Flatline, and you can hear the heartbeat monitor. You're like, yeah, perfect. It just makes sense here. So in addition to the heartbeat, we have various effects and stuff. But this is the thing I want to show you right now. This kind of ravey synth. So what I've done here to give it a bit of movement, as it is a loop, what I've added is a deep blue glitch, which I love, after the reverb actually, so it kind of messes up the reverb a bit. And I've got this like kind of short delay on it, but I increased the mix. Now the reason I use this sound is because I'm trying to make a ravey techno track. The project was actually called Sick Tech Rave, so I kind of had an idea in my head of what I wanted it to sound like. So that kind of went into the style of the track. It fit the style of the track. various other stuff here. I think this is just a drum loop. So this is kind of a cool ARP synth. Beautiful. I have a gross beat on there, which does this. So you can hear it goes da 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 da, but now it goes. But it's kind of it's not sidechained or compressed, but the gross beat kind of gives it that like groove effect. So it kind of transformed it in my own way. You can't say I don't try, you know. We have a crash here which I've reverbed because it annoys me when a crash sample just goes. How is that useful for me? So I have to do it manually. But it kind of sails off into the distance nice and clean. It doesn't just end abruptly like it did before. We've got this ghost ambience. It's all about the ambience in this break. With the impact. And then basically we just build up slowly. We then tease the acid, which is here, I believe. No, it's here. No, it's somewhere. There's definitely an acid lead in here somewhere. I just cannot find it. Basically, I have three things. I have acid. Maybe it's in this. Okay, so my acid is actually from Sylenth. It is a preset called Acid, of course. But the thing I like about this is it's pretty much as close to like a TD3 or whatever as possible. We can do the cutoff and we can do the resonance and stuff. If I can find it. Yeah. So you can hear how I can transform the sound, and I'll show you what I'm actually automating in here as well. Now, in terms of the processing, there is quite a lot because this is what it sounded like before. So this is like processed super heavy, but with an acid sound, you can really push it. Camel Crusher, Blood Overdrive, of course. Foul Filter Satin, really heavy there on the mids, more heavy on the highs actually. We've got the Isotope Trash doing a push-pull. We have a Transient Master because I wanted it to feel quite clicky and tight. We've got an EQ doing the usual stuff. Oxford Inflator just to big up this sound as much as possible. S1 Imager making it wide. And then we've got a nice EQ lift at the end. Routed into this channel, which we have a reverb with a peak controller. So that I can just control the amount of reverb there. I want the notes to shine through as much as possible. I decided it was too loud. Turned it down with the parametric EQ2. I do this because usually I've automated these two knobs. So if I want to turn it down, I've got to go back and find all the automations and stuff. So I just stick a parametric EQ2 on there and just bring down the volume. The delay, I don't know if it's... Yeah, so I haven't actually linked the delay to the peak controller. But this just sounds really nice, this delay. I'm really happy with how I mixed this. Got a Pro Q3, just really ironing out the details now. Thinking, where am I lacking here? I listen to a lot of reference tracks and think, oh, theirs is a little bit more like focused in the high mids and stuff, and that's where I really go in and fine tune it. Bigger Fire as well. I love this plugin. It's goofy. Just has a nice little like crunch to it. Fab filter, not fab filter, just a normal filter basically, just to kind of bring up the sound in the break. Then we have a compressor at the end, trying to keep everything tight, and then I decided I didn't need as much high end. I actually wanted more grit and like mid frequency, so that's why I decided to put the decapitator at the end, because obviously you know me by now, I'm never happy. So that is basically how we get our acid sound, and that literally sets up the whole breakdown. The whole breakdown is kind of themed around the flatline sample and also the acid. Just realized this video is not gonna be short at all. There's too much. I really went hardcore on this one. With this, it's just a texture layer. It's a future rave preset, but it's got a really nice grit to it. I think it's processed the same way as the acid. Yeah, it is. So basically, I had the acid sound layered with this. I'm all about texture and like grittiness in my sounds. Like, it really sets you apart from like new producers, right, who are just using like the most simple of processing, not really distorting stuff. So this layer just added exactly what I needed to this acid sound. It just completed the sound. Sounds really, really nice, those two together. We've got the brass noise, bass noise from before this one. Really drives the energy there. We've got a hard style kind of glitch, which I use a lot as well in my sound. That thing we just went through. And that is pretty much it for that section. Then we go into, we basically need to take the energy up a notch. Turns out the silent acid is a little bit heavy on the CPU. But yeah, the drums here. So basically, this breakbeat's not the cleanest, but it sounds really old school. It sounds like a really old 90s like warehouse rave type track. So the actual loop came like this. But obviously that doesn't fit with my melody. So I had to move and cut the sample up to make it fit my synth melody. But let's be honest, you know, that this isn't going to blow many people's minds, right? So I had to add my own kick to give it a bit more of like thump. You really feel it now. It's a real good thumpy kick, and then we have a snare layered on top. Could probably have had it a little bit louder, to be honest, but it worked out in the end. So the vocal is a really cute little all I want to do is love you, baby. It has no real relevance to the theme itself, but it sounds ravey and it sounds cool. So as we said, we're trying to make this a techno kind of rave song, so as many rave elements as possible will make it sound less like a standard techno track and more something. This is what I like to do in my music. I need my music to just be so a certain style, but like I always want to stand out in that style, and I think the raviness is 100% there. So we have that vocal, and this just already sounds ravey. Then I have looped the vocal a bit. This is the processing I've got. Just standard stuff, really. I've got a camel crusher there just to give it a bit more grit, using a little bit of mech distortion there. We've got a highs boost. We have a deep blue glitch we'll go through in a second, an acoustic reverb, a delay, EQ. The deep blue glitch is, as you can see, I'm just going to open up the delay size, so I'll show you what it does within deep blue glitch itself. This is so good to use on leads, vocals, absolutely anything on your track. Maybe don't use it on a kick, but for everything else it sounds great. Like, look at all the automation here. I didn't have to do this, but by doing this, doing all the other stuff on the other parts of the track, just sounds like a really complex production, right? It's simple. It took like probably 2 minutes of my time, but that just really made a big difference here. And basically it just tails off into the first real build-up. So the Hoover, as we said before, we want as many rave sounds as possible. Proper authentic rave sound. I absolutely love this. I've got to do a song with this. This really inspires me, this sound. But again, it sounds super ravey, and that's what we want. The build-up's pretty simple. Apart from that, I have this part of the flatline thing before, as we said. I cut a certain section from it. So this is kind of like the flatline, literally flatline, and just stops. That creates a little bit more of a vibe there as well. I can like bring it up slowly. We have build snares, the typical techno tech house build snares. But I obviously need a little bit of EDM in there because I can't turn my back on the EDM fans. Good old manual build snare made here. Saber's build snare, really like this one. It always seems to do the trick. I've got a reverb on it, just a little bit, and then just some EQs. I think those are for automations. So basically I reduce the low end in the snares so it can just fade away. And then we come to the piece de resistance, the pre-drop. What a tease. But we need to go through this section. This section's really important. Tracks like this do so well live. That, in my experience, every track where I have this kind of gap, it goes crazy live. So we have the impact, of course. We have also, that's pretty much it, you know, just the impact, this noise we've seen before, that kind of flatline sound, and then the drop leads. We tease the drop leads here. Basically what I've done is bounce it out to a wave file, so that I could just process it a little extra, right? So it's got all the processing on, but now I've done this extra stuff, right? So boosted the volume a bit, EQ'd, like got rid of the highs because I didn't want the pre-drop to have more highs or the same highs as the drop. I want the drop to just hit so much bigger. So by just ducking a bit of the highs here and reverbing it a bit, kind of takes away a bit of its power, but you still kind of feel it. Then we go into the drop. And this drop just hits so hard. You know, it's definitely, it has to be the best drop I've made, I think. You know already about the kick and bass. It's pretty much the same here. The only thing is we have this crazy heavy drop lead. So the drop lead itself, actually, we've got to turn that up. I don't know what's causing that actually. Let's just listen in here. So it's actually a Vital preset called Intensity, and this thing is crazy. Basically, the lead itself sounds like this. So you can hear kind of where I got the idea for drop 2 as well, which we will obviously look into. But the melody is super simple. But I learned how the lead was sounding, so I worked out how to do cool things with it. So as you can see, I've got a little bit of a volume automation. I believe it's on the lead, just trying to tighten it up as much as possible. Let's take a look at the processing. This is what it sounds like before. The difference is next level. It's crazy. But again, this sound was really. It wasn't amazing at first, but I heard a lot of potential, and I knew I could really distort this sound. So again, Camel Crusher, Blood Overdrive. That's a ritual at this point. FabFilter Saturn, very similar. It's very similar to the acid sound. I think I've modified the acid sound a little bit, like with a little bit more distortion. Isotope Trash, like you saw before, the push pull, Transient Master. This is all the same. The only thing is different is in the bus channel. I don't have a decapitator at the end. I have a sidechain. Everything else though is the same, so just go back to that part and look at everything I used. I love this synth opener preset in Bigger Fire, really sick. But this just for a kick, bass and lead, honestly, because I process everything correctly and like powerfully, that's all you need. I don't need crowd noise, I don't need any of this stuff. What I do need is a new laptop. We also added this high bass. So this is kind of a reverse bass, which adds a little bit of crisp. We have drum fill, which is kind of a bit like before the breakbeat. Again, rave. This sounds a bit ravey as well. Everything within the theme. And then, yeah, a little screech here as well, which I love. I think I've used that quite a few times as well. So again, it kind of shows it's an Olly James track because you've got that screech in there. Drums you already saw from the intro. I didn't change anything there. Drums remain the same. And then we go into the third kind of section of the track. So the differences here, like this section and build up, are different from the rest of the tracks.